What's more important, huh? A perfect image or the honest truth? We're about to dive into a story about the incredibly high price of appearances, and a woman whose perfect little world is about to come crashing down hard.
And really, this question, it's at the absolute heart of our story. It's a lesson our main character, Charlotte, is about to learn in the toughest way imaginable.
So, let's set the scene. We start in a world completely obsessed with looking the part. This is where we meet Charlotte, a young girl who's new to the country and whose mother values status, well, above everything and everyone else.
Okay, so at this super exclusive international school, we have Charlotte. She's from France, pretty shy, and then there's Laura, who's this vibrant, outgoing girl from Italy. And boom, they form this instant, kinda unlikely bond. But of course, there's a problem. Charlotte's mother. She is completely obsessed with appearances and insists that her daughter only befriends kids from wealthy, classy families. And these two? Yeah, they're total opposites. Charlotte is reserved, keeps to herself. Laura is fun and a bit wild. But the real conflict? It all comes down to their family backgrounds. Charlotte's mom just scoffs at the fact that Laura's mom is a saleswoman. She sees her as completely beneath them socially.
And this whole obsession, it really comes to a head during this incredibly tense family dinner. Laura gets invited kind of unexpectedly, and Charlotte's mother does not hold back. She hits her with this unbelievably cruel classist question. I mean, it's just a shocking moment that shows you just how deep her prejudice goes.
But Laura, man, even as a kid, she is sharp. She fires right back with this question, and it just cuts straight to the heart of the whole issue. She sees the total emptiness behind the fancy facade of Charlotte's family. It just proves she has this wisdom way beyond her years.
You know, a world that's built on nothing but appearances, it's fragile. It's like a house of cards, right? And for Charlotte's family, that whole facade is about to shatter in the most dramatic way possible.
So the downward spiral began, and it happened fast. First, Charlotte's dad loses his high-paying job. Then the family's forced to move, pull Charlotte out of her expensive private school. And in all that chaos, Charlotte tragically loses the notebook with Laura's phone number, her only way to reach her best friend. And yet, even with no money coming in, her mother refuses to let go of the illusion. She's throwing these lavish parties they just can't afford. It all finally boils over when her father, who's just drowning in debt, gives her an ultimatum. Stop the spending or he's leaving.
And that ultimatum, that's what finally did it. It just broke her. Faced with the reality of losing absolutely everything, she completely transforms. She isolates herself, she stops the reckless spending, but the change is just devastating. It's like she aged 10 years overnight. The fight just completely drained out of her.
So, years go by, life moves on. But just when it seems like that chapter of her life is closed for good, a little flicker of the past reappears.
So Charlotte's going through some of her old stuff and she finds a sketchbook from her old drawing classes. And tucked inside, she finds Laura's phone number. After all that time, she finally has a way to reconnect with her long-lost friend.
One phone call later, a plan is in motion. Laura invites Charlotte on her family's trip to Europe. Now, Charlotte knows her mother would never, ever approve, so she lies. She says she got accepted into some elite school program, and the lie works like a charm. Her mother is so proud of this supposed prestige that she agrees immediately. The friends also make a pact. They're going to enter a major art competition together while they're on the trip.
It all seems perfect, right? A dream reunion. But things have changed. People have changed. And you have to wonder, can they really just pick up right where they left off?
And pretty soon, a crack starts to show in their reunion. One night, Laura makes this just shocking confession. She says she was actually happy when Charlotte's family lost all their money. Not because she was worried, but because she loved seeing Charlotte's witch of a mother finally get humiliated. It's a really chilling moment that shows this deep resentment she's been holding on to.
So you can imagine that revelation just casts this dark cloud over everything. And it all comes to a head at the art competition, where all the secrets, the lies, and these old wounds are about to collide on a very, very public stage.
And the stakes here are, well, they're huge. The grand prize for the art competition is a life-changing $500,000. The pressure is definitely on.
So Charlotte's painting, she's in the zone, and then she realizes the entire event is being broadcast live on TV. And of course, back home, her mother sees her on the screen, not at some elite program, but in Europe with Laura. Absolutely furious, she and Charlotte's dad immediately book a flight.
Then the results come in. Laura takes second place, a great showing. And then they announce the grand prize winner, And it's Charlotte! In this moment of just pure joy and triumph, she walks up to the stage to accept her award. But that celebration, it is cut short. Her mother storms into the hall, yelling in front of everyone, furious about the lie, and especially furious that she's with Laura, the one person on earth she despises. And this is where it all explodes. Laura confronts Charlotte's mother and reveals just how cruel she was in the past. She hadn't just insulted Laura, she had burned the notebook with her number, threatened her as a child, and, get this, even threatened Laura's immigrant mother with deportation. And then, in the final devastating blow, Charlotte's own father confirms that the entire horrifying story is true.
Hearing this, something in Charlotte just clicks. She makes her choice. She confronts her mother, tells her she's taking the prize money and leaving with her dad, and then offers to pay for therapy. It is this powerful, definitive break from the toxicity that has just defined her entire life. So in the end, after losing everything she thought was important, Charlotte discovers what it actually means to be truly wealthy. Because this story really redefines what wealth is, doesn't it? It's not about the money or keeping up this perfect image. True wealth, it's found in the quality of your character, the strength of your relationships, and having the courage to stand by your values, especially when it's the hardest thing to do.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to think about. When does loyalty to your family become a barrier to your own growth? At what point is making that painful break not just an option, but an absolute necessity?